What's good, guys? Everlasting E-Dog here, and as you can see, Bond is beautiful on the Earth team. I'm here to showcase my P10 Bond on his Earth team. All my supports are P10, but I really like this Earth team. I really like that it's not the meta class of Earth team users or support users that we always have to use with Liz, Gother, and Daisy. Still have Liz, however, which makes Liz stock go up. Not only is she the best holy support, but she's also the best Earth Burster. So if we go over, we're going to give you guys the stats of Big Bond first. As you can see, he is P10 and his armor set is the Greedy Ruler set. I do have buff duration on these earrings, double, which is very fantastic to keep his buffs going, as well as attack increase on his ring because I prefer to run attack increase, as well as a plus 10 level 3 engrave. So for his engrave at plus 10, he receives crit damage and earth attack, 15% of crit damage. So he does a lot on crits. He has, you see, I got lucky with the engraving bonus and got a 17% crit damage engraving bonus as well. His level 3 increases the duration of his Berserker state by 40%. Gaining Berserker increases movement speed by 30%, and using the normal skill 3 times while the effect is active increases normal skill damage by 40% and crit damage by 40%. So as you can tell, his crit damage is already going to be sky high. If I take a look at his stats, his crit damage is at 143% right now, base with no buffs. And his weapons that we have, for this weapon I am using the Lich Dragon Greatsword just because the Black Flame Greatsword gives about 48% crit damage on this stat right here that the weapons have. But for the Lich Dragon, if you get to level 7, using the special attack while this effect is active increases crit damage by 40%. So all you have to do is use the tag skill, which you're already using to enter his Berserker state for the first time before you pop your ult. And it increases crit chance by 20% for 10 seconds, and it increases attack by the amount of crit chance exceeds 50%. So a max of 30% attack and 20% crit chance and 40% crit damage. As you can see, all you need to do is get an enchant roll of crit damage, and we already have more crit damage on this greatsword than the Black Flame without enchant of crit damage. We also got very lucky and got normal skill damage increase, earth attack increase, and ultimate move damage increase. This ultimate move damage, I don't know if it does anything because maybe it applies to when he's in the Berserker state. The normal skills do more just because I did pop his ult, but I haven't done any testing for that. But normal skill damage increase and crit damage is really what you want to focus on this weapon. Earth attack increase is a nice bonus. So if we go to his build, you guys already saw some of the rotation, but Berserker state, the hero's crit damage increases by 20% and the crit defense by 25%. So everything about his kit is going to increase your crit chance. Like this is crit chance by 25% and crit damage, as well as the only other caveat with him is using the enhanced normal skill against an enemy with Earth Burst activated, increased damage by 100% and restores HP. I don't really get the HP restoration as much, but as long as you have an Earth Burst on, you'll be able to do big damage. This is why I'm doing big damage, because my crit damage is getting increased even more, and that last hit of the normal skill on an Earth Burst increases damage by 100%. So you are doing some insane damage, and Berserker also makes you run a little faster, which is pretty neat in my opinion. Now we will go look at his potentials. He is P10. I recommend P6 or P7 just because I actually recommend P7. If you are here, you'll be able to have the P6 benefit, which is becomes immune to reactions while using the normal skill. This is huge. Since he's a spammer, he needs to spam. So if you're immune to reactions, you can spam, but if you're not, you cannot. So P6, I feel, is a must for the Earth build. Decreases damage taken by 20% and increases the crit damage boost by an additional 30% while Berserker is active. So as you see, once Berserker is active, he gets even more crit damage at P6. P7 is using the tag skill, activates Berserker for 5 seconds and increases the hero's earth damage by 50%. So that's why I said P7 is a mandatory, because if you aren't P7, you don't activate his berserker when using the tag skill. And you want that for the added benefit of the weapon, which is using the tag skill allows you to have this. And once you have this activated, you special attack into normal skill damage. And he has two very nice swings of the special attack that also increase your crit chance. So in his rotation, you want to be using the special attack anyways, just for the increased crit chance in his base kit. So you double press special attack and then you can go into spamming. You spam for about 4 seconds and then you want to pop the ult so you're able to continue to keep spamming. Now, we'll go to what makes his P10 so juicy, in my opinion. P9 is great because it increases your normal skill power by 65%, which is very beneficial since he is a normal skill spammer. And P10 slightly increases the range of the enhanced normal skill, and it increases defense shatter by 15% while Berserker is active. And this is huge because we know how good defense shatter is, especially against these time space junction bosses. That Henderson fight earlier in the intro, my time was 2 minutes with Holy Escanor. I couldn't even clear it with Diane because she is P7. I don't have anything built into her. I couldn't clear it. But now Bond comes out and I can clear it with the Earth team in 27 seconds. I mean, that's wild. His valuableness has gone up. Any Earth sector, I just call on Bond, as well as physical and as well as dark. So his level of DPS value has shot up to Merlin level, in my opinion. Landing the enhanced normal skill 3 times allows one more use of the skill. So that last use of the skill is where you're going to get your biggest amount of damage from. That's why P10 is really essential. I mean, a P10 Bond will take you far, just like a P10 Merlin will take you far. That's why I compare the two, because when it came to the cold team, Merlin revitalized the cold team. The only cold DPS we had was Miss Manny over here. But ever since we had Merlin, the cold team was revitalized. The lightning team was revitalized because all we had was Drake as a DPS. So I really think the Earth team is revitalized until we get a new version of this queen right here. Bond is definitely going to be king of the Earth team. Now, he is also accompanied by all of his relatives, his girl, basically his sister-in-law, and his brother-in-law. And we're going to go to his brother-in-law's kit first because it actually interests me so much. Now, yes, we do have a P10 king, but this build is also viable at P5 because you do get the Forest Fairy King increase earth damage by 40%, which is very nice. There is also one more thing. If you do have a P10 king, which I feel like is still that viable because we've been given a lot of kings and SSR selectors, and I've gotten him a bunch of times in the regular pool banner. But his P10 increases all allied heroes' earth damage by 30% for 40 seconds when the special attack stance is maintained for 5 seconds. And I love his special attack stance because it's just him laying on his pillow, and it's actually pretty fast. Like, you move faster with his special attack stance than you do running around. So basically, using his special attack at P10 will increase earth damage by 30%. And then we run the first strike weapon on him with max magic charging, just because we want to go ahead and get his abilities out the way because they're the slowest for us when it comes to speed running things. So in his rotation, we use this right here, his special attack, which increases his defense. And also, if you have his new Earth Engrave, which we have gold +5 to give us an HP increase, it will, each time the defense boost is gained, all allied heroes crit damage increases by 7%, a max of 35. So if you have this level 3, you can get a 40% crit damage boost to Bond before he even comes out just by holding down his special attack. When the hero uses the ultimate move, it increases all allied heroes attack and defense by 16%. I don't really use this when it comes to speed running because we're not using his ult. This team generates so much magic charging, it would be very easy to use his ult as well as the Elaine ult that we'll show you later and Bond's ult all in the same rotation, because you could pop the special attack, hold that, This move right here, his normal skill applies Forest Fairy, which will increase all allied heroes crit defense, all earth damage crit defense, not crit defense, crit damage, increase earth damage by 40% on the enemy. And you can do that and then go straight into his ultimate, which will give you more magic gauge. So his kit, all in all, is working very smoothly right now. We have the back attack set for increased attack for 10% for all allies. And this is really nice because if you use his special attack, most of the time it moves fast enough to where you can navigate behind the enemy and then use his normal skill to apply Forest Fairy, apply First Strike. You already have max crit damage. You run the Hema Regeneration set for the magic charging efficiency even more. And then the next person we swap to is Elaine. Now, Elaine is our barrier queen. As you can see, we put a greedy top on her for more defense because her barriers scale with defense. We put a life crystal belt on her for the barrier efficiency. The greedy ruler bottoms are for barrier efficiency. And we put some nice high level boots on her for defense. And then we put the oath talisman necklace on her for defense and barrier efficiency, and as well as this level 3 barbaric protection passive, which each time an allied hero hits an enemy, it gains 1 stack of barbaric protection for 40 seconds. When this effect is at max, using the tag skill removes all stacks and increases barrier efficiency by 20% for 20 seconds. At the time of removal, the duration of any active barrier is extended by 5 seconds. So this makes our barrier stronger, and since we're using tag skills, this is very effective. We have the life crystal ring. Basically, this is the only thing that is really interchangeable. It doesn't do too much. We're not attacking with Elaine. And we have our life crystal earrings for more barrier efficiency. Our earth engrave applies barrier efficiency. We have it plus 5 gold, which gives it even more barrier efficiency. Her level 3 blessings of nature. Each time a barrier is gained, movement speed of nearby allies increases by 30 seconds for 5 seconds. So that basically means if you pair this with the Berserker, which already increases movement speed by 30%, you have a 60% movement speed increase on Berserker Bond with Elaine's barrier, which is beautiful. Next, each time an allied hero hits an enemy with reduced Earth Burst resistance, all allied heroes' defense increases by 2% up to 16, and Earth damage increases by 4% up to 32%. So as well, she is increasing Bond's earth damage, which we love to see just by popping her barrier and using her in this set rotation. Now, I do have this Jet Black Grimoire book. I was trying to do some testing to see if the crit chance would transfer over to Bond, but I don't think it does. Her ult is interesting. Most enemies in this game, or at least big bosses, don't get Petrify applied to them, but the ones who do take 50% more damage from earth attacks. So in the grand scheme of things, if you put on her marks, which decreases the earth burst resistance, you put on both of her saint marks and pop her barrier, you could pop her ult and petrify the enemy. Now for the enemies you can petrify, and I'll show you some, it's very useful. Because for Liz, you want the enemy to be sitting still. Because even when I was fighting Hendrickson, it's hard to proc the burst on Liz if you missed her skills. But so this Elaine pairs with Liz when it comes to the petrified technique, as well as increasing Bond's earth damage, as lowering the enemy's earth damage taking, so making Bond do even more damage. Next, we have her potentials, and Elaine is a nice potential at P5 because allies with her mark increase their earth damage by 30%. So you're increasing earth damage even more just by applying her mark at P5. And at P6, the normal skill barrier the duration is increased by 10 seconds, which is nice. You want her barriers up as long as possible. The next thing that I would really be looking for anyone who has her P10. She is great on the Earth team because she increases all allied heroes' defense by 20%, and she decreases the enemy's Earth resistance by 20% when you pop her ultimate. So this makes her petrify even more useful at P10, but I don't think it's necessary for this team. I think a P5 to P6 would do you just fine. Next, we move on to Liz. And what I like about Liz is her Earth Burst is pretty fast. I think it's faster than Diane's. If you get her abilities to hit. I mean, sometimes I don't hit and I miss, and I'm like, oh god. Her tag skill does a lot of Earth Burst, and also with Elaine, you are lowering Earth Burst with the mark. So it is only right in the rotation that you go from King Elaine to Liz and apply your Earth Burst as fast as possible with your buffs activated. Now, the great thing about Liz is she has this passive Saint's Prayer. When the hero activates an Earth Burst, it resets all allied heroes' normal skill cooldown and increases all Earth allied heroes' crit chance by 20% and Pierce by 10%. So she's increasing Bond's crit chance by 20 and Pierce by 10%. Say you messed up the rotation or needed to do another rotation because the boss was that tanky, it resets his normal skill cooldown if you messed up in any way by just proccing the burst again. So that's also a nice benefit. And I wanted to see, as well as if you pop the Earth Burst and then just hit with Liz, hitting an enemy Earth Burst activated increases all allied heroes Earth damage by 50% of the hero's crit damage for 40 seconds. So you will get a 50% damage increase on your Bond all allied Earth damage as well. So that is also very nice. She is buffing up Bond without even with just proccing a burst. Now, as we get to the potentials, I wanted to show you guys P5 is mandatory because using the normal skill generates 5 rock fragments nearby. Enemies that come into contact with the rock fragments have their burst gauge increased by 150 and take damage equal to 40% of attack. So those pellets are really good for if you miss. Most of the time, the enemy walks into the pellets and gets bursted anyways. Next, we have her P6 and P7. P7 deals with the ultimate move, so it's not really useful. The next useful step when it comes to her Earth Burst is P10, because when the hero activates an Earth Burst, all allied heroes' Earth damage increases by 30%. When any allied hero attacks an enemy with Earth Burst activated, Earth heroes' crit damage increases by 5% 20 times. So, if I am not mistaken, a max of 20 times means 100% crit damage increase in Earth heroes who are hitting on her Earth Burst. So Bond's crit damage at this point is getting maxed out by this team. It also allows her to increase the Earth damage by 30% just by applying the burst. So as you can see, Liz is a must-have for the Earth team when it comes to burst, because Deanne does not do this. If you look at her kit, when it comes to her gauntlets, everything is for herself. Her heavy metal only heals her and makes her immune, and then everything else just increases her damage and does straight attack. Even her passive is just for the burst gauge. But Liz is playing burst support at this point and buffing up her Earth damage DPS. Now, if we go to her engrave, which is this awesome outfit that I really like, she has about a 25% increase in crit damage when you're +5 gold, which is actually pretty cool. Her passive level is each hit on an enemy with an earth attack while their earth burst gauge is 50% or below increases the burst gauge by a fixed value of 80. When the hero activates an earth burst, it increases all allied heroes' earth attack by 8% of the hero's attack for 30 seconds. So you're increasing all allied heroes' earth attack even more, max of 2400. Level 3, this is at 3k, and the burst gauge increases by a fixed value of 100. So you can almost proc her burst instantly if you have this level 3 and you do the right setup. We do have the burst set on her for even more burst efficiency, and we put the spider set on her. This is only the 3-piece. I wanted to do testing with the 7-piece, but I do not have enough accessories to do it, so this is what we have for now, but it still works great. It works very good. So as you can see, this is Bond. He is cool. He is really fun. This is the Earth family team that we have going on, and It clears all earth content very easy. I'm going to show you guys a couple time spaces and just show you how fast we can do. So the first sector that we have is sector 4. Now, I actually already ran this team and got a way better score than I did when I first did it, which is cool. I forget what, I think this is the dragon. Yes, this is the dragon, which is not bad at all when it comes to fighting. As you can see, you can always miss. And if you happen to be like me and miss, see, I messed up there. I was supposed to swap into Liz, but now we are swapped into Bond, and I can show you just how great that is. As you can see, if you don't mess up the support rotations, you kill in a very fast time, 28 seconds, and I had a couple of misclicks on that. We're going to show you guys the next one. We've already shown you Sector 8, which was Hendrickson at the start of the video. Well, Demon Hendrickson at the start of the video. I'm pretty sure we can go to Sector 9 with the Toads. Now, the Toads are interesting because you kind of need to burst them all, and Liz isn't good for that. You need to burst them all and kill the little Toads as fast as possible. Lightning Merlin is still the best when it comes to this sector, but of course there's going to be some sectors where they give us 2 elements and one might be better, so it really just all depends. But I still like to try, oh, I didn't get the tag skill. I still like to try the best I can, oh my gosh, to compare everyone. There we go. Oh, we didn't get the tag skill with Bond. One thing that I always find difficult is not getting the tag skills sometime. As you can see, we're stacking up very easy. We have immunity reaction, so we can't be hurt. So we can just keep spamming here, and everything is gonna die at its appropriate time. See, this one is a little bit more finicky just because you do need, you see how much damage he doesn't do once his burst is taken away. A lot of his crit damage is pretty much gone at that point. You need to burst with Liz first. But once we burst with Liz, we are able to get this and kill him. Now that one was a little longer, took a little bit longer time just because they throw us up in the air so much. Like I said, Lightning Merlin is still queen, but you're still able to get 3 stars. And I remember this was a very hard sector. Some people are still stuck on that sector. So it's great that you're able to get 3 stars with an Earth team, because my DN was not clearing that. She was not clearing 9, she wasn't clearing 8, and she was not clearing 4. I was struggling. Now we do have Sector 12, which is the last sector that is weak to Earth, and that sector I feel like is specifically made for Derriere just because of how the defense is decreased when you do normal attacks. But right now what we'll do is show you guys the Earth team in all its glory and exactly how good the Earth team can be. As you can see, I messed up the rotation on that because I don't have enough. There we go. Now I have enough. As you can see, her at full stacks of defense does not take as much damage as if you were to take all the hits out with your Derriere. But you do have reaction immunity. You do have a very good barrier, and as you can see, I can just sit here and I can just spam. I just have infinite spams, and you really can't. I can spam all the way until the Earth Burst goes out, and then reapply it, and then reapply all my abilities very quickly, and then go back into it. Somehow she knocked me down there. But as you can see, he's a pretty good tanker. You do get your barriers. You can also get HP back on that final swing of the normal skill. It takes a very long time. I just wanted to see how long it would take chopping away at this boss without any of the defense down or any of, really it's the defense down, because as you can see she has plus 30 on her defense, so it's still an insane amount. And then our lane is like keeping us alive at this point. We're still alive, but like I said, Earth teams in general, I feel, is really not set up for that boss unless you were to use Diane with the gloves to take her stacks of defense away. But her defense stacks, I've learned, come back, so that's the only reason why I didn't even try to take her defense down. But that was P10 Bond Showcase. As you see, you can 3-star all Earth content. It is very fun to use Earth Bond, in my opinion. I love normal skill spammers, and his normal skills feels very deserving. His Berserker state is cool. Honorable mentions, I will show you guys the Barbarian Chieftain, just because you'll see when it comes to things that aren't time sector and it comes to, say, boss challenges, for example, there's a level of OPness, in my opinion, that you gain just by using Bond. As you can see, that was almost 3 million damage there, 2.8 million, and that was our Bond Showcase. So thank you for checking out the video. I've been Everlasting E-Dog. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.